This portion of the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series is brought to you by Coach's Corner, there's no place like home. Airborne Graphics, Arts Barbershop, White Knuckle Clothing, Beth's Colorful Creations, and Brian Rogers Motorsports, proud sponsor of the Brian Rogers Motorsports Rookie of the Year.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Langley Speedway as we're getting ready for the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series, and they are preparing for the Blast to the Past 150 presented by Beth's Colorful Creations. This here is going to be the Upstate Racing League's throwback night, and I'm sure all of us are excited. My name is Kelly Dahl, along with me is Roger Muth, and as always, we also have KR Stolfus getting you the picture. And Roger, seeing some of these paint schemes right now, it is just awesome to see all these guys running some unique designs, and a lot of them have some interesting backstories as well.
A lot of these guys have interesting backstories, everything from someone's uncle out there running a similar paint scheme back on either their late model from back in the day or possibly a dirt car. We see a couple guys out here that also have some throwback to a favorite NASCAR driver or a favorite NASCAR team, or even just a car that they had a hobby stock back in the day. It's very creative by a lot of these drivers, and it's absolutely, like the title says, it's a blast from the past, and it's a blast seeing these guys out on track with them.
Now these guys are also getting a bit of a contest where a few of us behind the scenes are going to be voting on these designs, and the winner will be getting a custom-made t-shirt that is going to feature the design that they are using on their car here tonight. So just another interesting thing, and I guess another reason why there's so many cars out here with these designs. But getting to the race itself, we're here at Langley Speedway. It's not even half of a mile. It is a very short track. I think the official measurement is 0.4 miles, and it's really it's going to be hard to pass because you don't have the long straightaways like we did last week to set up the passes. You got to just kind of jockey your way for position here.
Yeah, you might see a little bumping in the corners. We saw just a couple weeks ago at another one of these tracks we visited, and it's a very similar, not like you said, not a lot of straightaways length here from Langley. So you're gonna have to set passes up either going into the corner, trying to dive underneath somebody, or possibly look to get the run coming off the corner. There's really not going to be an outside lane that works in here tonight.
Now another thing to talk about here, this is the last race of the regular season. After tonight, we will be basically resetting the field for the chase. Top 10 get into the chase, and right now the top 8 are all pretty much locked in mathematically, but we have got a few drivers battling for those last 2 positions. Currently, we're getting our points up on the screen right now. We've got Dylan Canova and Andy Lambert sitting in those last 2 chase spots, but they're only a few points ahead of that cutoff line. And you've got Guillaume Fortin and Paul Henley both sitting just 6 points behind, and then Jake Watson sitting 7 points behind. And then James McIntyre Jr. 14, Will Trevicki 16. So all those guys there pretty much in the hunt to be able to get themselves into the chase. So watch for all of those cars to be just battling for every single inch on this racetrack and for any single point they can get. And there are a few bonus points out here that you get in the series. Every time, if you were to run a 0x for the entire race, and you were to run at least half of the race distance, you will get 2 bonus points. You get a single bonus point for leading a lap, a bonus point for leading the most laps, and then 3 extra bonus points for a win. And for every 8 incident points you get on the season, 2 championship points are deducted. So basically, these guys have to race hard, but they also have to race clean, because if they get that 0x, there's an extra 2 points, and maybe they're sitting very close to hitting one of their 8x markers at this point, and if they hit that, that could very well kill their championship hopes.
Yeah, and just a couple of drivers that are just inside that cut line. Dylan Canova only has an 11-point advantage over that cut line, along with Andy Lambert. So those 2 drivers alone want to have a clean race out here. They don't want to get docked 2 points or a point or anything at all, because just 1 point could be the difference between making it and not making it.
Another interesting thing to note is we are probably going to be, I believe we are going to be going under the lights at some point here. We're currently sitting just before 8 o'clock in sim time. However, it is during the summer in the sim time, so the sunset will be a bit later, but I believe as the race goes on, the sun is already setting at this point. So a lot of the times this season we've been under the sun, not really under the lights. So that is going to be another interesting thing, is this track is going to be very cool. Right now it's only, the track surface is only 3 degrees over ambient temperature, so that is another thing to keep in mind, is the track is going to be cool and is going to be grippy all the way around.
Yeah, right now with the track temp sitting at a cool 83 degrees, you will find grip down there on the bottom. The question is, though, how much grip is going to be left down there after this race with so many laps and all the drivers running a single file pace down on the bottom lane? You might have to see, guys move up about a car length and a half off the bottom, but it's predominantly going to be that bottom groove like we were talking about.
And from what I've been watching in the practice sessions, we have to watch for the guys to hit that outside wall. A lot of them are pushing it just a little bit too hard and slapping their car into the wall, exiting these corners, as they're kind of basically running this track almost like one big circle. As soon as they finish tracking out from their previous corner, they start turning in for their next one. That's just how short these straightaways are. And another interesting thing is the lines here is, these guys have been running all the way down to the apron and using that the banking difference between the apron and that the bottom of the racetrack to help turn those cars. So you'll be seeing these cars going all the way up the track, all the way down the track, trying to find where the best line is.
That's something we're gonna have to play or keep a watch out for tonight, is to see who finds the best way around here. I mean, this track, the way that you just described it, does remind me a lot of running one of those very small kind of quarter midget tracks, local dirt tracks, because by the time you're got the car straight, you're throwing her back into the corner. So you're gonna have to watch for tire wear also, for how much they are leaning on that right front tire, continuously turning around this track here tonight.
And we say it. Well, we're going to take a quick step aside as these guys run their last few minutes of practice, and when we return, we will get back for our group qualifying session. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Blast the Past 150 for the Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series Upstate Racing League on MaxSpeedTV. Right back.
This portion of the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series on MaxSpeedTV is brought to you by Rumar Vinyl Designs. Let us get stuck on you. Lightning Strikes Pro Shop and Hanson's Starter Shop.
Welcome back to Langley Speedway for the Blast of the Past 150 for the Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series presented by the Upstate Racing League, as we're getting ready for qualifying. For those of you that are just joining this league for the first time, they run a group qualifying session. About 3 or 4 cars go out at the same time, and they run group by group. So they also run a bit of a handicap system as well. So those drivers that over an average of, I believe, the last 3 races, if their average finishing position has not been that great, they'll get to be the first ones out on the racetrack. And those that have been just absolutely dominated in the last few weeks will be the last ones to come out. So our first group is getting set up right now. The first group is going to consist of the 89, the 61, the 5, the 34, and the 90. So that will be the 89 of Thomas Mateer, the 61 of Danny Dubuque, the 5 of Rex Hoyle, the 34 of Jeremy Watkins, and the 90 of Matt Roll. You guys are all getting ready to head out on the racetrack, just waiting for word from race control. track is now clear, and these guys are being waved out on the racetrack. So we've seen some decently fast times here in practice. As we saw, I believe the fastest time was a 15:5:25 from Chris Stump. So we'll have to see what these guys are going to be able to do in their qualifying. Danny Dubuque now getting the green flag for the first time and the first driver here tonight. Danny Dubuque going to cross the line, and that's going to be a 15:7:31 for him. Rex Hoyle with a 15:7:48 and a 15:9:20 for Matt Roll. Thomas Mateer 16:2:25. Jeremy Watkins 16:0:16. Up to see Danny Dubuque is not going to be able to improve on his second lap. Doesn't seem so far like any of the drivers will be able to, and that's not too surprising. Usually it's these guys will go out for one lap, and a lot of them will call it after one lap because the tires are just been able to, they've scrubbed off enough speed on or enough of the tire on the first one that they're not going to be able to really match the speed on that second lap.
Yeah, it happened a lot of times here with these the pro late models. Is usually it's a one and done. A lot of these guys here that are first out, though, electing to take their second lap. Possibly, you know, the track temp is cooler, so it might have just a little more grip in it. You never know. Possibly take that second lap because maybe you just overshot one of your corners on your first lap, and you really need to try and dig hard for the second one to possibly improve time. Fortunately, none of those 5 drivers who were out there in the first group of qualifying here were able to improve their times, but you never know. That's why you get 2 laps. You just never know.
So our next group out on the racetrack is going to be the 17 of Brian Hacker, 30 of Will Dravicki, 70 of Dylan Canova, the 42 of Brett Bartels, and the 22 of Mike Holtzclaw. Is heading out onto the track now. Brian Hacker taking the green flag. We'll have to see if any of these guys can knock off Danny Dubuque's 15:7:31.
And talking about Brian Hacker running one of those throwback paint schemes. He's paying tribute actually all the way to his uncle, who is a 2-time late model champion at the Rockford Speedway. So look at that 17 WTVO car. It's a sharp one out there, and it's one of many that we're going to see out here tonight on track. Brian Hacker on his first lap goes to 5th on the board. As now, I believe that's his second lap now coming across there, and his last lap was quicker, so his second lap was quicker. It was a 15:624. So he'll go second, but Will Dravicki in the 30, he'll take over the top spot with a 15:569.
Will Dravicki, another guy running one of those throwback schemes, paying a bit of a tribute to a main event outlaw super late from Rich Rower. That's another great looking car, and being able to just see all these guys with the stories of their cars, and it's really great. Is they're not, a lot of them just aren't just choosing random cars, and it's not just, you know, hey, I'm choosing some big popular car from the 80s. No, a lot of these guys are going back and finding some really not only great looking cars, but also like some obscure cars. I mean, these guys aren't guys that were on TV every single week. It's guys that they grew up watching at their local short track.
Your next group out here for qualifying, that's going to be the 02 of Josh Mayu, the 1 of Carpenter, the 24 of Sean Cool, the 52, I believe that's Doug Wysocki this week with a number change for the throwback, and I believe the 13 of Guillaume Fortin is going to be out there also. You talk about a driver that might, you talk about guys not throwing it back to big name stars. The 24 of Sean Cool, though, I believe he's running one of those Jeff Gordon paint schemes, so he's representing a bigger name, as Sean Cool's going to go to the number 2 spot on the board with a 15:61, and then Guillaume Fortin going to really put in a good lap there with a 15:517. So Guillaume takes over the top spot.
And a lot of times they kind of run this handicap system where the faster guys are supposed to run towards the end, and I think it's actually going to benefit those guys this week as the track is continuing to cool off as the sun sets here. And now I believe the track temperature is now down to 81 degrees, and now we're going to see these times drop even more as our qualifying times are already faster than the best practice times. But Guillaume is now going to go to our pole position for the time being, and Guillaume as well running a throwback scheme on that number 13 machine. That's a throwback. I'm trying to find the information here. That is a throwback to Sylvain Lacombe, who was the first ever late model champion at their track, and this is the car that he ran for his championship year. So another great looking car there on that 13 machine. And we got the 81 of, I believe that is James McIntyre Jr., the 71 of Andy Lambert, who is normally the 77. And we've got the 16 of Paul Henley out on track right now. And going to see what these guys can do. They're all gunning for Guillaume Fortin, who's currently running a 15.517. Andy Lambert coming across the line. Not going to be good enough for pole position as he hits a 15.722. James McIntyre Jr. going to put himself into third with a 15.57, and that 16 machine is going to be just behind Andy Lambert with a 15.783. And also interesting that these guys are changing their numbers as well to match the guys. And Andy Lambert has a huge write-up for his. It's basically a throwback to a member of the New England Auto Racing Hall of Fame, Bobby Dragon. So going on to group number 5, it is going to be the 96 of Al Smith, the 69 machine of Matt Cucker, the 98 of Chris Stump, and the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. So some very fast guys coming up here on this next run. It's going to be interesting to see if any of them can take down Guillaume Fortin's 15.517. And I'd say that Chris Stump, he's probably the best probably has the best chance of taking him down. Going on board now with the 12 machine of Brian Rogers, running his normal paint scheme, but that's always a bit of a throwback with that old school Pepsi design. That 12 car going to follow out behind the 69 of Cucker, and he's going to see if he can put himself up towards the front to start this race. Matt Cucker now coming through turns 3 and 4, going all the way, almost all 4 tires onto the apron. Now he crosses the line. Where's that going to put him in 4th place for the time being, a 15.6? And these guys are getting scattered all over the place, and none of them are going to be able to take down Guillaume Fortin. As now it looks like the 69 is going to call it there, and I think that might be just about it for these guys. I think there's a few more that's going to be running, but Chris Stump, he's only able to manage a 15.574, and he was the fastest of that group. And we'll see Al Smith slot in with a 15.677. And another driver that was on there, that was the 12 of Brian Rogers. He was able to get a 15.761, but now getting ready for our final group of the night. That's going to be the 20 of Justin McDuff, the 18 of AJ Hamill, and the 2 of Steph Marinac. So a few more throwbacks out there. As Steph Marinac is another interesting one. Steph Marinac, a Florida native, and he's going to also kind of throw it back to, or basically pay tribute to another Florida legend of Dan Marino, who owned this NASCAR race car of the First Plus Loans machine.
Yeah, another driver out there that has one of those crazy paint schemes. That's going to be the 20 of Justin McDuff as he comes off turn number 4 to get the green flag here. He's throwing it back to the New Jersey Jet Brett Hearn, who ran at the Moody Mile up in Syracuse, New York. Those were dirt late models up there on that 1 mile track. And I'm a little biased, I'm a Syracuse fan at heart, so that paint scheme goes a long way for myself, and especially being from the Northeast here, knowing who Brett Hearn was. But McDuff goes 5th on the board with a 15.58, and then he goes down into turn 1 and gets it all sorts of out of shape. He's going to shut her down after 1 lap.
Now Steph Marinac getting loose in 3 and 4, and that's going to kill his chance at a second lap time, and I think that is going to secure our pole position, because AJ Hamill only managed a 15.663 before he shut it down. So Guillaume Fortin is going to be our the winner of the Rumar Vinyl Designs Pole Award. So good job from Guillaume Fortin, putting down an absolutely blistering lap time. Is it went way faster than Chris Stump's practice time. Is Chris Stump was the fastest time in practice, the 15:5:25, and then Guillaume comes in with a 15:5:17, and that was just a great time from him, able to find a full 10th over his practice time.
Looking through actually your point standings, it's going to be a great starting spot for the driver of the number 13, as he's going to start here on pole, and he's one of those drivers that are battling to get in the top 10 here for the chase coming up next week. So great starting spot for himself.
Well, we're going to step away for a quick commercial break, but when we come back, it's going to be a last chance qualifier for those guys that did not finish within the top 20 in qualifying, and that will set our final 6 positions on the starting grid. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the LCQ.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to the Langley Speedways. We are getting ready for the last chance qualifier. All of these guys are going to make it into the races. We only have 25 drivers out of the 26 available starting spots, but these guys will have basically a practice race to get themselves warmed up. And our quick rundown of the starting grid, we're going to have Jeremy Watkins starting off in first, Doug Wysocki going to roll off in second, Jeremy Carpenter in that one machine going to start in third, Thomas Mateer rolling off in fourth, and Josh Mayu going to be bringing up the tail end of this LCQ. And so these guys are going to make the show. This is going to be only for starting position, but it is a bit of a warm-up race and a chance for them to kind of feel out the track as the track continues to cool off as the sun continues to set.
It's going to be a 10-lap shootout here. All these guys are going to be able to do is maybe better themselves one position here in the starting grid, maybe 2 if you get around a couple guys. So all this is really going to do is just log laps here for these guys, and the guys who are right now in pit road in the stands here watching. It's just going to give them a little bit more info on the track.
It is kind of an advantage for those guys watching from the pit road, is they'll be able to kind of watch where these guys are doing or what these guys are doing from kind of a distance, and seeing really what lines work out. But these guys are going to be able to really feel it for themselves. So far, that outside line holding on, but the 52 machine is going to now drop back, and he's going to lose ground to also Jeremy Carpenter, and he's trying to find that inside line. That inside line looks to be dominant to start this race.
Yeah, that's where we predict most of the action to happen there on the inside lane, and Doug Wysocki not able to get that 52 machine down there. There's almost a little contact with Thomas Mateer that time in 3 and 4. That inside lane, I think that's pretty much going to be the place to be for any of those NASCAR fans, if you will, that are out there. It's going to remind you sort of like Martinsville or Bristol. You get stuck on the outside, you're just going to pretty much go straight backwards, and we just saw that with Wysocki starting in 2nd place and now finds himself in 5th place. He'll make the field like we said, so not a big deal there running in the 5th position right now.
And we saw a race very similar to this 2 weeks ago at Oxford Plains. Is there was only one lane around this racetrack, and the only way to go up anywhere is you had to kind of move the other driver out of the way, and we did see that happen. Some sparks did fly, and hopefully we get an exciting race like that tonight, but hopefully these guys are able to keep it most clean for the most part, as Jeremy Carpenter is still trying to chase down that 34 machine of Jeremy Watkins, and Josh Mayu just kind of tagging along behind him. And look at the one trying to get his nose into the inside of that 34, but gets a little bit loose. The 34 overshoots turns 3 and 4, and he's way up the racetrack.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to have to watch out for. Jeremy Carpenter's kind of showed Watkins that he was kind of there, you know, maybe about a half car length back in the mirror. And that forced the driver of the 34 to make that little mistake and allowed Carpenter to go right on by to the lead. Watkins going to gather that car up, though. He'll go third right now with only 3 laps to go here in the last chance qualifier.
A bit of a shorter LCQ here tonight. Josh Mayu trying to see what he can do going all the way onto the apron there. As looks like the one kind of got out of shape in turns 3 and 4, and I think that's what's going to make this a bit more different from Oxford Plains. This track seems to be a bit more difficult to handle, as these cars are seeming to get a bit loose in these corners. So it may end up being the driver that can really keep a handle on his race car is going to be the one to win tonight. As white flag now in the air for the LCQ. Jeremy Carpenter leading over Josh Mayu, and Josh going all the way down on all 4 tires onto the apron, trying to get underneath that one machine, getting some sort of track position, but not able to make the move. Going to try it again, actually going to get a bit loose on the apron, but that's going to allow Jeremy Carpenter to take the win on the LCQ.
Jeremy Carpenter going to come home in the first place for your last chance qualifier. Josh Mayu second, Jeremy Watkins third, Doug Wysocki battled back for fourth, and Thomas Matier are going to round out that last chance qualifier.
Now as we go to our warm-up session here, is all these guys with throwback schemes are all going to get themselves bunched up onto the on pit road, and we're going to do a couple parade laps to show off all of these fantastic schemes.
Yeah, so this is going to be something neat. You don't usually see a lot of leagues or anybody really here on the iRacing side do the throwbacks along with a parade lap, so it's going to be able to cycle us through here and see all these schemes that the drivers are running here tonight.
So I believe we've talked about Guillaume's and the 30 of Will Jervicki's. Justin McDuff in that 20 machine running basically something very similar to the 12, as he's running that Pepsi throwback scheme. We've also got looking here, the one machine is a very interesting one. I think that's probably one of the better stories. Is Jeremy Carpenter's running. It's a throwback to the first motorsport he personally ever participated in. It was a demolition derby car he ran back in 1997. It's based off of a 1985 Ford Tempo. So I don't think any of these other schemes can claim to run off of some car so obscure as an 85 Tempo.
Yeah, that's one that's way out of left field, and that's an interesting one. It's a good one that's out there on track. It's impressive. It's thinking outside the box for sure.
02 of Josh Mayu, he's running a throwback to his own personal idol, Richie Evans. That's another great looking car out there. Trying to look for what we got for the 52. 52 of Doug Wysocki, he's normally the 45. This is the paint is one of a few that the 59-year-old Rick Knowles from Willis, Michigan, raced at Flat Rock and Toledo Speedways. Is 20 plus years of racing. We also talked about the 24 Sean Cool running one of those Jeff Gordon schemes. Al Smith Jr., he's running a throwback to his own father's race car. It's a Mustang that he raced in the late 80s and early 90s at Albany Saratoga Speedway and the Devil Bowls Speedway. These guys just wrapping up their last few parade laps here. Is also go through another couple of our final guys here. AJ Hamill, he is running in the 18. It's a blast to his past to his own first racing hero, Chuck Brown. The Bandit apparently produced a lot of joy and reportedly a few tears from our single-digit aged admin in the mid-80s. A lot of these guys are just running some great schemes with some fantastic stories behind them, and These guys are now being let loose to run their warm-up before we get ready for the feature. And this parade kind of also gave them a bit of a chance to maybe test a bit of a restart procedure here. They were in single file instead of double file, and now these guys are all bunched up, so they can maybe feel out how this track will feel working in traffic. So we all got to see all these paint schemes, and we want to hear from you in both the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. If you have any of these paint schemes caught your eye, let us know, and maybe you can influence those of us that are voting on those schemes that are kind of still up in the air on who to vote for. Well, we'll be back in just a few moments. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we return, we're going to be getting ready to go to the grid for the Blast to the Past 150. So don't go anywhere. You are watching the Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series presented by Upstate Racing League on MaxSpeedTV.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Back to Langley Speedway as we are going to go through our Beth's Colorful Creations starting lineup for the Blast of the Pass 150. Guillaume Fortin going to be rolling off in pole position with Will Dravicki to his outside. Chris Stump going to be rolling off in third. James McIntyre Jr. fourth. Justin McDuff rounds out our top five with Steph Marinac starting in sixth. Matt Cucker rolls off in seventh. Sean Cool will be starting in eighth. Brian Hacker starts ninth. Brett Bartelos rounds out our top 10. AJ Hamill will be rolling off in 11th. Dylan Canova starts in 12th. Al Smith Jr. going to be starting in 13th. And Danny Dubuque rolling off in 14th.
15th position goes to the 5 of Rex Hoyle. The 22 of Mike Holtzclaw going to start in your 16th spot. 17th spot goes to the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. The 81 of Andy Lambert going to start 18th. 19th is going to go to the 16 of Paul Henley. The number 90 of Matt Rolls is going to round out your top 20. 21st going to go to the 34 of Jeremy Watkins. Doug Wysocki in the 52 starts 22nd. 23rd goes to the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter. The 89 of Thomas Mateer starts 24th. 25th and shotgun to the field, the 02 of Josh Mayu.
Pace car getting set to head down pit road as we get ready to start the final race of the regular season. Pace car down on the way, green flag in the air, and that 13 machine gets on the loud pedal, getting a great start, gonna clear the 30, and look at the 98, he's gonna get right up to the inside of that 30 machine. We know those guys on the outside line are gonna be trying to find a way to the inside as soon as possible. Not gonna be a chance for Will Dravicki to get between the 20 and the 98 there, as he still has to try to fight for position. Lights are on around the racetrack now as the sun has finally gone down, and we're gonna get a good battle under the lights here tonight.
Yeah, battle right now. Oh, a little contact between the 20 of McDuff and the 30 of Dravicki. Dravicki to the outside and spun around. It looks like the 81 also involved, and they just continue to pile in behind them.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be just a minor thing between the 20 and the 30, but then as everyone started to stack up, people tried to go to the outside, and there was another bit of contact later on in the field as a couple cars got into each other. Looked like the 96 got hit by the 5 maybe, but I'm going to give it over to KR Stolfus, and he'll give us a quick replay of what happened.
Yeah, that just looks like some good hard racing between Will Dravicki and Justin McDuff, and a little bit of a misunderstanding of who was exactly where, as this thing is going to have to rewind a little bit. Will Dravicki and the 20 of Justin McDuff make contact that is going to send Dravicki into the wall, and then everyone, as they try and scatter and figure out where to go on this short track that is Langley, really stacks the field up and creates multiple issues here in this race. As we go on board with Al Smith for this one, you see the stack up accordion effect Al takes evasive action, but the 70 of who is in the 70 tonight? Want to make sure I get this called out right. Tried to go on his outside, but just couldn't do it. And all sorts of mayhem here early on in the race.
Yeah, it almost looked like as they stacked up, Al got a bit of a shot to the right rear of the 5 of Rex Hoyle, and it kind of just ended up turning that 96 machine up to the outside. And unfortunately, there was, I think, 2 or 3 cars trying to sneak around the outside, and it just kind of ended up really just pinching them all into that spun 30 car up on the top side. And now there's a lot of damage to a lot of race cars out there, but we are getting stacked up side by side once again, and we're gonna get ready to get this thing back under green flag racing. His car getting set to dive to the safety of pit road. It's now down and away. Green flag immediately out, and another great start from Guillaume as he rockets to the head of the field. And now that 69 machine of Matt Cucker going to be to the inside of Chris Stump. Chris is going to try to slot in between the 69 and the 24, and he is going to find his way down to the inside. Big accordion effect as a lot of cars end up getting bumped off one another in the back of the field. As I think the 24 slowed down a little bit, which caused the 20 to rear end him, the 2 to rear end him, and then it just kind of went all the way back through the field.
And that's not the only action out on track right now. The 81 of James McIntyre Jr. being stuck to the outside. He was going door to door with the 42 of Brett Bartels there for a moment. They were eating off each other's doors as we got another yellow already out there on the track. I think that possibly could be the 5 of Rex Hoyle turned around down there in turns 1 and 2. Well, KR, let's see if you can take us back here on another one of these MaxSpeedTV replays and find out what happened to Rex Hoyle and the number 5 machine.
All right, folks, the 5 of Rex Hoyle down into the corner he goes. He's running on the high side here, trying to find a way to make it work. And the 1 and the 5 make contact on the front stretch. A little bit of net code maybe happening there. And Rex Hoyle getting the short end of the stick and just spinning around. I think all this is just a product of a very short track that is Langley, as these guys try and rip this late model around here.
Yeah, there is not a lot of room to run out on this racetrack. We've already said that the best line around here is pretty much only 1 car wide, and you've got a lot of guys trying to fit their cars into that racing line, and that's kind of just what's causing these cautions to start. And that one, thankfully, not a very huge impact for anyone, as the 5 machine just kind of got spun around on his own, and we didn't have any huge pileup like we did on that first caution.
Yeah, so not a lot of cars involved, but it is going to bunch these guys back up again, nose to tail here once we get ready to go back green flag, possibly next lap around here. So you're going to have to watch out now. This is going to be our second restart of the night here. So these guys have seen how the accordion effect has happened before and how it's going to shake up again here on the restart. And also, those guys have been stuck to the outside. The 69 and Matt Cucker are going to start second here. He's going to be the guy to the outside. He hasn't been stuck on the outside yet tonight. Now it's going to be the first time we're going to see him up there. Chris Stump going to be back to the bottom. He lost a couple spots. He knows what the outside is about. So you can see, you're going to watch the number 98 of Stump really push it hard here, trying to get into turn 1 before Matt can get down.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Matt Cucker does on that outside line. Is we've seen every single one of the guys, or both the guys that started on the outside, have lost out immediately. As we saw Dravicki immediately start losing positions. Now Stump started lost positions right off the start. As we know that outside line is not the place where you want to be, but we'll have to see if that 69 machine is going to be able to guess when the green flag is going to come out. And we've seen the green flag waves pretty much immediately after the pace car comes down pit road, but now these guys are going to get ready to go, getting stacked double file as lights are now out on the pace car.
Ian Fortan going to be your leader here on the restart too. His outside going to be the 69 of Matt Cucker. Chris Stump going to get that 98 there to the inside. Sean Cool's going to be on the outside. Justin McDuff going to be the 3rd car on the inside row in 5th. And Steph Mirnack going to be in your 6th place out there.
Pace car now going through turns 4, now diving down, and there the green flag waves and the 13th rockets off, and The 69 going to actually get a good enough start to get ahead of Stump. Not quite clear just yet. Now he'll be clear coming off of turn number 2, and that's going to allow the 69 machine to hold on to second place for the time being. And now look at Sean Cool getting stuck on the outside along with Steph Marinac. Cool getting into the 20 a little bit, but both those guys will stay pointed in the right direction for now. Brett Bartel is looking all like he got a little bit loose on the inside there as everyone's fighting for the limited amount of position here on this racetrack. And now they're also fighting to hold on to their cars. The 24 goes hard into the outside wall coming across the start-finish line.
Yeah, a lot of jockeying here for positions. These guys knew they really had to get down to the inside lane. You saw Cool and McDuff battling it out real hard to see who was going to be able to get to the bottom lane. Both those drivers were sideways at one point or another there. A lot of these guys, you see them throwing them down into the corners, actually getting the car sideways. Not sure if it's just a little too much rear brake that these guys are dialing in, trying to get the car to turn, but you definitely see guys sideways. Looking through the field, though, no real action. Everybody pretty much single filed out. You actually would have to go all the way back to the 20th position to the 1 of Jeremy Carpenter, as that now has fizzled out. He kind of looked like he was into the outside wall and everybody was freight training him. He's going to fall in line, though, behind Matt Roll in the 20th position, right in front of Jeremy Watkins, who's running 21st.
Everyone following the 13 train, and here comes the 69 of Cucker getting a good launch off of the corner. Not quite enough to get to the inside of that 13 car, though, as that's going to cause a bit of an accordion effect behind him. Another scrape along the wall for that 13 car as Cucker just trying to find a way to get his nose at least to the inside of that 13 car. He's going to try again off of 2, not able to dive it down just yet. And now the 24 going to get a hard shot from the 20, and that's going to cause the 20 to go up the racetrack. He's going to lose ground to Steph Marinac, and now also going to lose ground to that 42 of Brett Bartels, who will able to hold on to his car and able to hold on to his position. And now McDuff and Bartels side by side for, I believe that is 6th place.
Yeah, so the battle for 6th place right now between the 42 of Bartels and the 20 of McDuff. It looks like Bartels is going to win out there. McDuff's going to slot in so he doesn't lose any more positions. He went from running in your 4th position all the way back to the 7th position. Or sorry, he was running 5th, lost a position there, now running in the 7th position. There, once again, you saw the accordion effect happen, and then somebody had to take evasive action, so we didn't have another yellow brought out, and McDuff went to the outside and unfortunately got stuck out there.
Are still jockeying for position within that top 5 as a lot of these guys are taking peeks to the insides and trying to see if they can get better lines off the corner to at least get themselves in position, and so that the other driver is going to be forced to the outside of the next corner. But none of them are really able to hold on to it long enough to really make that move stick. And now looks like the 69 is losing a bit of ground to that 13 machine, is now the 24 trying to get a nose to the inside of the 98 but has to check up, which causes that 2 of Steph Marinac to check up.
Yeah, so a big checkup towards the back, or sorry, towards the middle of the field here in the front. But up front here, Guillaume really running a great race here. He's kind of running a little bit of a more protective line down the straightaways. You see him exit the corners real low, so the number 69 of Cucker just can't duck underneath him. And I'm not sure if Matt's actually faster than him right now or not. You see a big wiggle there off the corner there for the 69 coming off turn number 4. That kind of allowed Guillaume to get about a half car length out there. But Matt is still fighting back. It's a great race so far at the front. A lot of give and take.
Oh, look at the 2 getting moved out of the way by the 42 as he gets pushed up the racetrack by Bartels, and now Bartels on that inside line and going to be able to make the move. Is he going to be able to make it stick? We've seen that the outside line can't really hang with the inside line, and now the 2 is going to finally lose position, but he is going to have enough space to drop between the 42 and the 20, so Marinac only going to lose that 1 position. And now going back up to the front, looks like the 69 and taking another peek, trying to dive it in, and it is going to work this time. Guillaume is not going to make it down to the yellow line, so now Cucker is going to battle Guillaume for that 1st place, and going to be door-to-door, side-by-side across the line, and that is going to now allow the 69 to get ahead of the 13. 13 trying to find a way to the inside, but Stump is there to block him off as Guillaume Fortin not finding any space, and now he's being freight trained as again now allowing 24 to get by and can't quite get in there that time. Now he's got space. Bartels is there though, but he is going to be still forced to that outside, so he's going to go to from 1st all the way to at least 5th now, as looks like Bartels still trying to battle him for that position, and now maybe even Marinac will get by him. Bartel's making a slight mistake though, going through turns 1 and 2. Is bobbled just a little bit as he went across that apron line there.
Yeah, how far will the 13 fall is the question. How far will Guillaume, when will he get back to the bottom? Will he get back to the bottom is the question. Now you see the 42 of Bartel's get around him. Now it's going to go the 2 and the 13 door to door into turns number 3 and 4 here, working out of 4. Mironak's going to get around him, and now McDuff already to the inside. The next possible, chance that it looks on screen possibly for myself that I'm watching, maybe right here. No, he's not going to be able to get down. So probably looking like another 5 cars yet behind this group of cars before he has an opening at all. So he's going to go, he could possibly find himself outside the top 10 here real quick as the 18 of AJ Hamill gets loose to the inside, trying not to get into Guillaume. That's going to give Guillaume the break he needs. He's going to slot that 13 machine back to the bottom there in that 7th position.
So from 1st to 7th for the 13 machine, that just shows how costly a single mistake can be. If you get forced to that outside line and you can't get to the inside line fast enough, you're going to be freight trained all the way back there. But now the top 5 spreading out a little bit as there's now a gap between the 24 of Sean Cool and the 42 of Brett Bartels. But those first 3, the top 3, you can just throw under a blanket as they run practically nose to tail. Sean Cool making a bit of a mistake through turns 1 and 2, dropping a little bit back from Stump and Cucker, but is still kind of with them for the time being.
Yeah, so 3 cars nose to tail at the front, Cucker, Stump, and Cool, and then it's a little battle right back here for the for your 4th and 5th position. Mironak taking that position from Brett Bartels. Bartels going to now be stuck on the outside of McDuff as McDuff looks underneath him in 3 and 4. Door to door off turn number 4 at the line. Still gave it to the 42 at the line, but the inside lane, as we see, has been really the advantage. That's the one that's going to pay off here. Now the question is, when will Bartels get back to the inside? As he had a moment, if he would have checked up there real quick going into the corner, could have slot in front of the 13. And he'll make it work off turn 4. He'll put the 42 machine right in front of the 13. Put Bartels now into your 6th position here.
And that was all caused by Bartels getting a little bit loose into turn 1 there, and that caused him to slide up off of that inside line, lose a bit of speed, and that allowed the 2 to sneak in underneath of him, and allowed also the 20 of Justin McDuff to just kind of follow him through. That it just shows how costly a single error can be here, as you will lose multiple spots because just how close these guys are all racing. But talking about how close, our top 3 still are nose to tail, but there's a huge gap between them and the 2 now after that mistake from the 42. But now they are going to start catching our first bit of lap traffic, the 89 of Thomas Mateer. I'm sure that he is going to go up the racetrack to kind of give these guys room, but it's a bit of a question of if he's going to maybe cause any sort of issues here.
Yeah, possibly this lap car of Mateer, as you see him right in front of the leaders. The leaders are coming at him really quick at a high rate of speed here at the short track, and he's going to have to find a lane. It looks like he's going to go high. He's going to allow the leaders to have the bottom. That's a class act move by the driver of the number 89 of Thomas Mateer. Mateer going to go down a lap, but it's not the end of the day for him. He'll still be out here running that throwback paint scheme. So all 3 of your leaders able to work by that lap car with no problem. It looks like Sean Cool maybe didn't come off turn 4 as quick as he has been, but he'll close the gap as they go down into turn 1.
Quick update on your drivers that are running for the chase, kind of the drivers on the bubble. Dylan Canova currently sits in 12th place. We've got Andy Lambert as well sitting in 9th. So those are the 2 drivers that are in the chase right now, trying to hold on to their positions. Next closest one is Guillaume Fortin. He's in 7th at the moment, but he's also got a bonus point for leading a lap, but he still does need to gain a few more positions over Lambert to have any sort of chance of making it into the chase. We got Paul Henley. We're looking for him. He's in 15th at the time being, and I believe that is all of our main contenders here. Is James McIntyre. I don't believe, no, he's not here either, so that is going to basically cut it right there. Oh no, sorry, James McIntyre is in 13th place, so he also is sitting there with a slight chance of being able to get in. We saw Dravicki. He was possibly one of our guys that would have been able to sneak his way in, as he's had a fantastic start, but unfortunately his night is over after that first incident. Kind of banged up that race car a little bit too much.
Yeah, as we were going through the field there, highlighting those contenders, there was a big move out front. The 69 and Matt Cucker got real loose about 3 laps ago, and that allowed the 98 there, Chris Stump, to get underneath and pretty much drive away. He's put almost a second gap now from first to second place there. So gives Stump now the lead. Cucker now in second, and Sean Cool is in third place. Let's see how Matt can kind of rebound from that, as his tires were heated up there for a moment. He has it in the right direction, and actually looks like he's closing that gap at a high rate of speed, now down to a half-second lead for Chris Stump out front.
A big lead for Chris Stump, but Matt Cucker trying his best to chase him back down. And you got to remember, these guys have the tires that they start on are the tires that they have to finish on. Under no circumstances are these guys allowed to get fresh rubbers on their race car at any point in this race. And Chris Stump trying to make these tires last, as we're about a third of the way through this 150 lap feature race. Looks like that 69 machine is starting to reel in the 98. The 24 of Sean Cool is following along with him.
Yeah, so that's your top 3. Running in your 4th position, still the number 2 is Steph Marinac, but he has Justin McDuff all over his back bumper. McDuff is the 20 car right there, the Pepsi throwback, running in the 5th position. So there's your top 5 right now. Brett Bartel is just a little bit farther back. He's in your 6th position, and Guillaume Fortin, who was your pole setter here tonight, now finds himself in 7th position. AJ Hamill in the 18 Skull car there. He runs in along there in the 8th position. The 71 of Andy Lambert is in 9th, and the 12 machine of Brian Rogers Jr. finds himself in the 10th place.
Chris Stump still holding about a 4/10 of a second lead over Matt Cucker. Sean Cool about a 1.1 seconds back. Steph Marinac trying his best to catch up to that 24, but he's got the 20 right behind him, filling his rear view mirror. So that's going to put a little bit of pressure on the 2 of Marinac, and Marinac just kind of has to focus on hitting his marks, keeping that car pointed in the right direction, and making sure he doesn't make any sort of mistake, because he bobbles that car slightly and lets off the gas at all. The 20's either going to pass him or going to be forced to go right into the rear end, because how close these guys are running, there is pretty much no reaction time allowed, and that 2 is going to stay high, and that's going to allow the 20 to get by, and Steph Marinac isn't going to fight him at all, just going to allow the 20 to go by. And I think that may have been a planned move between those 2.
Yeah, you never know with drivers out there on track. Are they communicating with each other or not? But now give Justin McDuff the 4th position. That slots the number 2 is Steph Marinac back into your 5th position. Let's see now. Let's watch Justin McDuff, see if he can reel in the 24 of Sean Cool, who is about a second in front of him. And if you look at Sean Cool, he has caught now Matt Cucker. There's going to be a battle in a little while there between those 2 drivers for the 2nd and the 3rd position, while Chris Stump, who's just out front running away with her right now, extended the lead just a little bit over the last couple laps. Now here's the thing. That's your championship leader running in the 2nd position, and that's your rookie of the year points leader right now, Chris Stump out front. So, you know, the wide-eyed rookie out front here at Langley Langley.
Stump, our only other, or our one of 2 multi-win drivers here this season. Him and Matt Cucker are the only drivers to have won more than a single race here. And Stump is one of 2 drivers that are currently in the chase standings, with Andy Lambert currently holding on to that 10th place position. So Stump definitely making himself a candidate for the Rookie of the Year. And he is currently running away, as now he's going to go around that 61 car. It's a little bit of lap traffic. And all of these guys that are running in the top 3 are locked in. Oh, caution out on the racetrack. And that is going to be, looks like the 02 of Josh Mayu possibly. You know, it looks like the 22 of Holtzclaw was all the way off in the grass. And looks like it might have been a bit of contact between the 70 and the 22. KR?
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to go to our MaxSpeedTV replay here, figure out what happened as the 70 of Dylan Canova and the 22 of Mike Holtzclaw. Contact made at the entrance into turn 1. Holtzclaw really sideways, does get into the grass. Very minor contact between those 2, but just one of those situations where that right rear was very touchy. As we watch this one more time from the blimp, you can see the 70 trying to get underneath Mike Holtzclaw, make a slight touch, and that's enough to send Mike Holtzclaw into the grass.
And this is I don't want to say it, but this has huge chase implications because this league does have a caution claim rule, and Dylan Canova did claim the fault of that caution, and that's going to give him an EOL. And as mentioned, Dylan Canova is one of those guys that's on the bumper, on the bubble. He's got only 11 points over the chase cutoff right now, but as these guys get a little bit of a break, we're going to take a quick break of our own, but don't go anywhere. You are watching the Blast of the Past 150 presented by Beth's Colorful Creations for the Upstate Racing League Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series. We'll be right back.
This portion of the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series on MaxSpeedTV is brought to you by NHR, Eddie's Meat Market, Devil's Bowl Speedway, Vermont's fastest half mile, Atomic Graphics, this portion of the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series on MaxSpeedTV is brought to you by Rumar Vinyl Designs. Let us get stuck on you. Lightning Strikes Pro Shop and Hanson's Starter Shop.
Welcome back to Langley Speedway. Lights are turning off on the pace car now, and these guys are going to get stacked up 2 by 2 as we're getting ready to go back green flag racing, as got just over half of this race still to go.
Chris Stump going to be your leader here on this restart. Matt Cucker going to start to his outside. Sean Cool is in your 3rd position. Justin McDuff going to be your 4th place car. Steph Miranak 5th, and Brett Bartels is going to be the 6th place car, the 3rd car on the outside as we're waiting for the pace car to come off. The pace car is off. The green flag is waving once again. Look at Chris Stump. Chris Stump shot out of turn number 4 when the green flag flew like a rocket. That's going to allow the 69 of Cucker duck in there in the 2nd place and retain his 2nd place. You're going to have to go back to Justin McDuff, who was battling with Steph Miranak, as he's going to win that battle out. So put McDuff there into your 4th position and Miranak in 5th. Now Brett Bartels actually looks like the first car to the outside left on the outside. That's going to be Bartels in the 7th position and AJ Hamill in the 18 to the inside of him, as they're going to work off turn number 2 there. It looks like AJ is going to get the position, but now here comes Andy Lambert. Lambert's going to fill the hole.
The 69 has got around the 98. The 98 went way up the racetrack, and now he's stuck on that outside line. Chris Stump trying to find a way to get back to the inside, but he's going to drop outside of the top 5, it seems, as he's still stuck on that outside. Now going to be able to slot in behind Guillaume Fortin for 6th place, but that's going to shake up our race lead.
Yeah, so that's going to shake the lead. That's going to hand the lead over the 69 of Cucker. That's a tough break there for the driver of the 98, as he's been out front, it looks like, for, I think that was 25 laps led already for that driver. He's going to find himself all the way back in the 6th position, so losing 5 spots on just one simple mistake here, and stuck him onto the outside and lost lots of positions already.
Someone that is losing positions, that is Brett Bartels. He was getting his first top 10 run of the season, and it is his first season here with the Upstate Racing League, so he was in basically his best spot. Now he's dropped all the way back to 11th after that restart, and every time the caution waves, the guys that are in those even numbered spots are just cursing, because they know just how hard it is to make a move on the outside, and how easy it is to lose a ton of ground here. As Bartels, I think, was maybe up in about 5th or so. I think he was running about 5th or 6th on that, or I think he was running 6th on the S, because he started on the outside, and now he's running all the way back in 11th. So a big drop in a bit for that 42 machine.
Yeah, but back out front still going to be Matt Cucker now, since he retained the lead. But Sean Cool is right there. As you see, Matt Cucker kind of running a little bit of a different line than what he was earlier, since maybe these tires are, wearing down a little bit. He's about a half car length off the yellow line when he enters the corner, and as he gets to the exit of the corner, kind of throws it back down to that inside and lets the car drift off the corner. So possibly a tire strategy move, is he's not trying to throw the car into the corner as hard as Sean Cool is. You see Sean Cool really down there on the white and the yellow line all the way around the corner. So maybe a strategy play here for Matt Cucker out front, saving a little bit.
Yeah, but he is kind of arcing down on the exit, and that's a lot of times that the line he runs is he enters a little bit high and then arcs down to kind of get a good run on the straightaways. But there isn't much of a straightaway to really talk about here, so I don't know if that's going to help the 69 all that much, but also through 3 and 4, he's kind of looks like he's keeping the car on the yellow line, so that might just be the line that the 69 has found. And I think Cucker might just it might just be the line that he likes to run around here.
It's working out for the driver out front. Sean Cool right there, though. He's not going away easy. You saw him slip a couple laps ago, but he's reeled back in, Matt Cucker. Justin McDuff now finds himself back in the 3rd position. So 3 guys that started towards the front of the field are still sitting there. Steph Marinac in the 4th position. Guillaume Fortin has now found himself back up
contact
inside.
between the 20 and the 24. The 24 is sideways. Cool is not going to be able to hold on to it. He gets sent up the racetrack. He is going to be able to keep it pointed in the right direction, though, so we are going to stay green, but this shakes a lot of things up as Sean Cool going to drop all the way outside of the top 10. He's now going to get hit by the 16, and he's going to go around. Caution is out.
Well, that started with a little bit of a bobble by the 24, and it ended up with him spinning off the front bumper there of somebody. KR, what do you see on one of these replays for us?
Well, you called it just right. That 20 machine making contact with the 24 in turn number 1 and 2, and then Sean Cool gets it sorted, and he is stuck on the outside trying to force his way down to the bottom, and the 16 of Paul Henley is already there, and once again Sean Cool's gonna go around. So essentially Sean Cool decided he needed a full lap to bring out the caution.
Looks to be actually that might be that Paul Henley is going to claim this caution. As it does look like Henley got a little bit on the gas a little bit early, kind of came up into Sean, as looks like Henley was kind of just running his normal line and just tracked out a little bit too far up into Sean Cool, who was already kind of stuck there on that outside line. But that's going to cost Sean Cool a lot, as he was running in 2nd and now running all the way back in 19th place. So a very costly run there for that 24 machine. But for the bright side, the 24 is already locked into the chase, so for him it's a bit of a step back for this race, but yeah, isn't quite out of the whole thing.
Yeah, but that caution, who's really going to benefit from that's going to be the number 98 of Chris Stump, but that's going to allow him now to gather his thoughts a little bit after you saw him lose the lead, and now it's also going to allow him to start on the inside lane, the 3rd car. That's the 5th place, so he's going to be looking pretty good here on the restart, trying to grab a couple positions that he had lost.
And I'm sure a lot of guys did not want to see that that caution come out, and I'm sure Brett Bartels is one that didn't want to see it come out. Is going to be starting in 10th place, so he's going to be on the outside once again, and we saw how costly it was to him earlier. But he started in 10th place on the night, moved himself up to about, I think the highest he was at, I think he might have been running at 4th at one point, and now he's dropped all the way back down to 10th, so maybe find his way back, or find his way to that inside line, and he might be able to find his way back up towards the front of the field.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of comers and goers. We saw somebody who was at the front, the number 20 of Justin McDuff. He was up front here battling in your top 3 in the early stages, and a little mistake by him, and that sent him back to, I believe it was about the 7th position. Now has worked himself back inside the top 3, running in 2nd.
Lights are out on the pace car. Everyone's going to get stacked up double file once again. We're going to get back to racing here shortly, as Matt Cucker going to be starting from our pole position with the 20 car of Justin McDuff on the outside, and I'm sure McDuff is going to want to get as good of a start as possible to slot in between the 69 and the 2, and I'm sure that 2 car is going to try to hold him off on the and keep him to that outside pace car. Now down and away, green flag out, and a bit of a checkup on that inside line is going to stack up the inside a lot, but 20 is not going to be able to beat the 2. The 2 is going to get by him, and now the 20 is going to be able to slot down to the inside, as he's going to get in between Stump and Marinac. A couple drivers still stuck on that outside. Looks like 410 trying to find his way to the inside, as well as the 18 of Hamill. And looks like the 13 is battling that 71 of Lambert, as Lambert trying to hold on and trying to get himself into an even better position. He started at 18th. He's up to 6th, battling for 5th. And it looks like he's going to get it, as Hamill is out, or Hamill able to slot in behind him. Now Guillaume is just trying to battle for as much as possible to kind of maybe hold off. It looks like the 71 made a mistake and was kind of slowed on that last straightaway. That allowed Hamill to get right back up to him.
Yeah, that's 3 drivers battling that are right there on that cut line. Or sorry, 2 guys that are stuck there down on the cut line. Lambert, one of them, and Fortan is the other one. They're still side by side. They've been side by side for the last 4 laps here. Guillaume really trying to just get what he can out of the car. He's going to have to give way now. Lambert's going to get the position. AJ Hamill's going to be nice enough to hit the brakes there for the 13. Otherwise, that could have been a situation there on the straightaway in front of the whole entire field. As now Lambert going to have the 5th position, Fortan going to be in your 6th position, and AJ Hamill is in your 7th position now.
Big gap between Stump sitting in 4th place and Lambert in 5th. Bit of a gap between Cucker and the rest of the field as he's opened up about a half a second lead over Steph Marinac. And talked with Steph Marinac on and off throughout the season. He had a very good run last season, ended up finishing 2nd in the championship, and then kind of got off to a slow start. We expected him to be a contender all throughout the season, but yeah, really was just plagued by bad luck in the early part going. But he has been able to lock himself into the chase. He's been able to kind of turn his luck around these last few races. So keep an eye on that too, because things are kind of turning in his favor.
And looking at the lap count, just on the stat board for the driver of the number 2, he's only actually led 1 lap out there this year. So it's pretty much been a down year for the driver, kind of rebounding here in the late going, having strung together a couple top 5 finishes, and right now finds himself inside the top 5. But looking out his front windshield, you see the driver who's out front dominating this race, dominating the season so far. The 69 and Matt Cucker, your points leader, finds himself a half second in front of Steph Marinac, who is running 2nd. Justin McDuff still running there, though, in your 3rd position. And one of McDuff's teammates right there, the number 98 of Chris Stump in 4th, Andy Lambert 5th right now, which is has a battle still with Guillaume Fortin. They're still nose to tail there for that position. Guillaume really not letting him go anywhere.
And Guillaume just trying to battle his way back up towards the front as he started in a pole position, and he's one of those guys that is outside of the chase looking in, and he's hoping to get as good of a run as possible. And Andy Lambert is one of those guys that's on the bump or ahead of him, kind of on that cut line. Is he's got a bit of a good chance here, as Canova had that caution they claimed earlier, and that's moved Canova all the way back to 12th. But Guillaume just needs to get every point that he can here tonight, as he's trying to battle with Lambert, maybe just get a point or 2 on him.
Yeah, every little point's going to matter when it comes down to the end of the season here, when we tally them up at the end of this one to see who locks themselves into the chase. So we're just going to have to see how that plays out towards the end of it. Right now, we do know Dylan Canova is in the 12th position, so he's not that far behind. I mean, it's only 6 positions, but that's a handful of points there. So just going to have to see how that kind of shakes out. With Guillaume running in your 6th position, not able to right now advance his position, just trying to hang on. Matt Cucker, though, still out front. It does look like Marinac has kind of, closed the gap a little bit. Now it looks like it's possibly a 2-car, gap back to the 2nd place runner of Steph Marinac, and Justin McDuff still hanging right there on the back bumper of Marinac. Ooh, a big wiggle out of Matt Cucker. That time he goes high there in 3 and 4. That allowed Marinac really to close the gap that time. Now all your top 4 drivers right there within a car length, bumper to bumper of each other.
Another thing to keep in mind for these drivers that are on the bubble is the tiebreaker that this league uses is the finishing position in the final race. So if you are tied with another driver and you beat him by a single spot in this race, then you will get that position in the points championship. So those guys that are on the bubble and know that others are on the bubble, like Andy Lambert and Guillaume Fortin, are going to be battling tooth and nail, because they don't know what the standings are going to be like at the end of this race. All they know is that if they are ahead of the other guy, that's got a pretty good odds that they're going to be the ones to be into the chase. Looks like the 2 sliding a little bit in the corner. It looks like the tires might be a little bit worn down. It's going to get within just about 40. I think we're at 41 laps to go.
Yeah, the laps here are really winding down, but talking about tires, if you look back in your 13th position, the number 24, Sean Cool, who had spun out just a little while ago, who after running inside your top 3 now finds himself sitting in 13th. So he's coming through the field, charging through the field, abusing those tires, as he has Dylan Canova, who's right in front of him, also all over the track. you know, really hanging on to that 70 machine as he's been involved in an accident. You see a lot of door damage done to the 70. Josh Mayu right in front of them, battling, having one of his best runs here with the Upstate guys this year. He finds himself in the 11th position, and Al Smith Jr. right in front of him, running in your 10th position.
On the 69 getting cut off a little bit by some lap traffic. That's Thomas Mateer. Thomas now going to get up the racetrack and move out of his way, but that kind of held up the 69 just a little bit, as it looked like he wanted to go to the inside of the 89, but I don't think the 89 thought that he was going to be able to get there in time, so he took that inside line away and that forced the 69 to check up. But I think that 69 car has just got better tires on him than the 2 right now, because he's still holding up that gap.
Yeah, Marinak's able to reel in and Cucker there, you know, occasionally, and then all of a sudden it seems like Matt Cucker, you know, pushes just a little bit harder and he's able to run away. So maybe he's just judging how much tire life is left in the number 2 himself. So it's going to be interesting to see how the laps are going to wind down here and who's going to outlast who's going to have the better tires when it comes down to it. I mean, if we have a late race restart, tires are going to be a big factor, even though Matt, if he's still in the first position, is going to have the, you know, preferred line on a restart. But I mean, we're just going to have to see how that plays out also. There's a lot of factors here tonight. I mean, being a short track itself, being a points night, you know, a cutoff race, a lot of things happening out here on screen.
Yeah, a lot of drivers nose to tail as they've been throughout this night. Is pretty much a train out there. Is looking at our top 4, there's barely any space between them. It looks like the biggest gap is really between Cucker and Marinak, as second, third, and fourth of Marinak, McDuff, and Stump are all just right on each other's bumpers.
Yeah, as I'm looking down through the field, I just noticed that Guillaume Fortin has now found himself in the 5th position. That means he had got around the 71 of Andy Lambert, and Lambert is all the way back in the 8th position. We didn't see what happened between those 2 drivers, but I mean, positions have changed hands now. So give Guillaume 5th, AJ Hamill 6th, Brian Rogers Jr. in the 7th position, and Andy Lambert back now in 8th.
Yeah, it was most likely the 13 got to the inside of Andy, and once he was forced to that outside line, it was allowed the 18 of the 12 to kind of sneak their way through and just kind of follow that 13. And now taking a look at the battle that's starting to shape up for our 5th position, as AJ Hamill is all over that 13 machine, as Fortin trying to hold off and hold on to that top 5 finishing position, but isn't careful. That 18 might find a way through, but at the same time, that 18 of AJ Hamill looks like he's on the absolute edge of control. As a couple times there, it's looked like his cars wanted to step out on him.
And that plays a factor to how much these drivers have been abusing their tires, as it's a no tire change league here, and the tires you start on are the tires you're going to finish on, and it's really showing after 122 laps here, the tire wear for some of these drivers. It just depends on how much wheel input.
AJ Hamill still looking for a way through, as he's riding a little bit of a momentum from the Racing for a Cause series, as he got a win last night, and now he's trying to look for a top 5 finishing position here tonight. But right now, Guillaume, he's one of those guys on the bubble. Guillaume has wanted to get every single position that he can, every single point that he can. He's already got a bonus point for leading a lap earlier on, and now trying to just hold on to 5th, knowing that Lambert is sitting in 8th and Nova all the way back in 14th, and those 2 drivers being back there is helping him for the time being. And now Marinak, I think Marinak got stuck on the outside and he got shuffled back a few positions. And now McDuff has moved himself into 2nd, but he's got a full 2nd of a gap between himself and Cucker that he's got to make up, as now we're within 25, now down to 24 laps to go.
Yeah, with 24 laps to go, something right now that the driver who's out front, Matt Cucker, does not want to see is a yellow. Right now, Justin McDuff and Chris Stump and Steph Marinak, they're all yelling there's debris somewhere, but right now we're going to stay green. Matt Cucker out front, McDuff in 2nd, Stump right there behind McDuff in 3rd, Marinak 4th. Guillaume Fortin still in a battle with AJ Hamill. Hamill's still right there all over the back deck lid of him. Brian Rogers Jr. just kind of following those guys around right now, seeing who's going to do what. So closing laps here. The question is, can Cucker hold on?
I think Matt Cucker's got a good chance to hold on to this one, as he's still opening up that gap over McDuff, and we've seen that he's kind of been keeping keeping on top of his tires, because he made a mistake earlier and that allowed Steph Marinac to get right up to him, but he almost immediately started pulling away from Marinac when he needed to. So Matt Cucker's been kind of keeping saving up his tires, so when he does need to get that little burst of speed, he's got the rubber underneath of him to make it happen.
Yeah, but here's going to be the monkey wrench with under 20 to go here. If we stay green flag racing the rest of the way, Matt Cucker's going to have to deal with lap traffic, and that lap traffic is right in front of him. That's the 34 Watkins, who is in 18th place, and Matt Roll, and then it's so on Canova and Henley also right in front of them. So he's got 4 cars that he's coming up on that he's going to have to pass cleanly and get around quickly. Otherwise, Justin McDuff's going to reel him in. I mean, Tucker has right now a little over a second lead on McDuff, but lap traffic we know can play a huge factor, as Mateer and Roll are side by side right in front of your leader.
Yes, and now Cucker's got a lot of traffic in front of him, and that's maybe going to hold him up a little bit. The guys are trying to get out of his way and give him room, but just so many of them, and they're all still trying to battle for their own positions, that it's a little bit difficult. And now that might affect the 20 is actually no, Mateer is going to be able to allow that 34 machine pass, and it's going to allow now the 20 to get through. And now Matt Cucker's still trying to weave his way through traffic, and it is working out for him, still holding on to about a 1.2 second lead over McDuff, and probably going to keep increasing that as this race goes on and as we go towards the kind of closing laps here.
Yeah, Holtzclaw there, you saw him just move right out of the way there of Matt Cucker. So Cucker now actually has quite a few possible laps before he's going to run into any more lap traffic. But the question is, how fast can Justin McDuff and how cleanly can he get through this lap traffic? Because he still has Chris Stump in his rearview mirror, only about a half car length back behind him. So there needs to be no mistakes by Justin McDuff also as he works through the lap traffic. And right now it looks like the only other car that McDuff is going to have to worry about now is going to be, I think that's the 34 Jeremy Watkins, who separates the 69 and the 20 right now.
Yeah, but that has cost McDuff, as he's lost about 0.2 of a second so far going through traffic. He is going to gain another 10th back there on that last lap, but I think that may be more from Cucker kind of laying back a little bit. Going back throughout the field, going to check in again on one of our bubble drivers. That's Guillaume Fortin, still sitting in 5th, and he's gained a little bit of ground over AJ Hamill, and now Hamill kind of having to deal with the 12 of Rogers, just looking for a way by, as it looks like Rogers went up the racetrack a little bit, now trying to dive down off of the turn number 2, but not enough of a run because it's just how short these straightaways are that you can't really form any sort of a run. You just have to kind of force your way into track position. But now the 89 machine kind of closing off that 18, not allowing him to get a decent exit off the corner, allowing the 12 to get a little bit closer to him, but still not enough for Rogers to get his way through.
Not enough room there for them, but up front, still clear sailing for Matt Cucker as we're going to come to 9 laps to go this time by. Only a handful left. That's still, now actually, if you look at timing and scoring, Justin McDuff has, kind of reeled in Matt Cucker. Now it's under a second lead, and he's bringing along Chris Stump. So those second and third place are, slowly pulling in the leader. Is it possible that Matt Cucker's saving a little tire here towards the end in case a late race yellow comes out? It's just questions that you got to ask yourself here in the late going.
I think also Cucker's kind of easing off a little bit to make sure he doesn't make a mistake, as we've seen this track is very difficult. These guys have been loose all night, and as well, I just don't think there's enough time for that 20 car to catch him and make a pass, because it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to make a pass, and now he's actually losing ground as Cucker started running a bit more of an aggressive line, is now dipping underneath that yellow line, and we haven't seen him really touch that yellow line for a few laps here.
Only 6 laps to go that time at the line there for Matt Cucker. Still finds himself out front. Not much really going on. If you got to go all the way back to the 6th place for Brian Rogers Jr. and AJ Hamill, still battling it out here for the 6th and 7th position. That's your only real, 2 cars that are close together like that, and Andy Lambert's just right behind them. So got to be no mistakes here for Rogers if he wants to hang on to that 6th position, because AJ Hamill will fill the position if he slides up, and a little bit of a wiggle that time off turn 2 for the driver of the 12 machine, but he'll be all right. He'll still hold that position down. All the tires on these machines out here tonight are gone at this point with only 4 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm sure the right fronts and right rears are hurting on those race cars, but they won't have to last for too much longer as we're getting within the closing stages of this race. Just a few more laps to go, so if anyone wants to make a move, it's going to have to be soon. And We may see a bump and run or two throughout the field, and keeping an eye on Rogers and Hamill as those two guys are battling it out. And Andy Lambert as well. Lambert's a guy that wants to hold on to his chase position over Dylan Canova and Guillaume Fortaner. Looks like Guillaume may be able to race his way into the chase at this point, because he's sitting in 5th right now, and we've actually got a caution that's going to end this race.
I believe that's a 24. Sean Cool might be turned around there, sitting on the outside wall in turn 1. KR, can you take us back here on this replay and tell us what happened once again to the driver of the 24?
Sean Cool in the 24 machine is going to go around here, bringing out the caution while the checkered flag flies. Sean Cool just getting into the corner, coming up off the corner, getting loose and losing it all on his own. And however, when we go back live, Matt Cucker going to be your race winner here tonight.
That is going to be win number 6 on the season for Cucker, as he has just had an absolutely dominating season, trying to make a bid for a back-to-back championships, as he won last year, trying to win again, and he will go into the chase as our number 1 seed. Justin McDuff going to be just behind him, finishing 2nd, as Justin McDuff has kind of followed closely behind Cucker all season long. So watch for a battle between Cucker, McDuff, and maybe even don't count out Hamill or Marinac, and especially not Chris Stump either, as we've got a number of drivers in this chase that all really have a good shot at winning this thing. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we will bring our Max Speed TV post-race show, and we will catch up with all 3 of our drivers. But don't go anywhere. You're watching the Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series for the Upstate Racing League. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Langley Speedway, where we just wrapped up the Blast of the Past 150 presented by Beth's Colorful Creations, and you saw another win from Matt Cucker. We're going to catch up with Matt Cucker here. Matt, I think this is your 6th win on the season, and you really ever get tired of winning these races?
You never get tired of winning. I mean, winning's what we come to do. We don't come to finish 2nd, we come to win. And it's the main goal every week. And now that the chase is starting, I mean, hey, now we got to put together 5 good races, not just wins.
How do you feel going into the chase? You were the champion last year. You're trying to go for back-to-back championships, which I think you might be. I'd have to look into this, but I think you may be the only multi-time champion if you do so. So how do you feel going into the chase?
I mean, I'm feeling all right. Now we'll just put it all right, because Justin McDuff, he really stepped up his game this year. Chris Stump, I mean, those guys, they're really they're keeping me on my toes. So every time we go out on the track, you never know what's going to happen. So I mean, hey, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and see what happens.
Well, the racetrack here seemed to be not really well for passing, and we saw you make a couple moves, but also we saw you drop back a little bit there. So what was really the strategy for getting track position here?
Well, this track, it's real tricky. I mean, you really got to search around for grip. I mean, I was running the top in 1 and 2, and then cut it down coming off of 2, and then in 3 and 4, I was using the apron. So I mean, I was really searching around. So that way, you really had to search around. That's all I really can really say is whether you had to find the grip since the new update, and I'm glad they put it back to this update.
Well, before we let you go, Matt, thank you very much for coming to talk to us, and we'll give you the microphone and allow you to thank whoever you wish to thank for this good run you had here tonight.
Alrighty, I gotta thank Team Vince here. Obviously, Globalcom, I Analyze, Turn 3 Auto Transport, got Austin Designs, and this week I figured we were doing a throwback, and I figured I'd do the first ever car I painted on iRacing, and hey, it says sponsorship available. I'm always looking for sponsorship if anyone wants to chip in, so hey, I want to thank you guys and for putting on this awesome broadcast, and Al Smith Jr. and everyone at Upstate for having a good league to race at.
All right, thank you very much, Matt, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
I hope so.
That was Matt Cucker, driver of the number 69 and our winner here from tonight. And now moving on to second place, I believe Roger is going to be catching up with Justin.
That's right, Kelly. I have caught up with the driver of the number 20, Justin McDuff. He started in your 5th position tonight. He brought the 20 machine home in your 2nd position. Justin, first off, how was the race out there? It seemed like you got stuck on the outside yourself and you went straight backwards.
Yeah, I went backwards more as a result of a couple incidents I was involved in. I felt like the car was really good. The driver could have been a little bit better tonight. I don't really think I did anything wrong per se, but I just ended up in a couple bad positions, and I'll have to go back and watch it just to make sure. But I felt like I got my crossed across my nose a couple times there, and I hate it for the guys whose night ended up ruining. It's just things happen so fast here, and was able to salvage a good finish. I don't think I had anything for Matt there, but it just kind of shook out with the restarts. And I was able to get up to 2nd and then hang on.
Yeah, that was going to be a question if you had anything left on those tires for the driver of the 69, because he at one point had a 1.5-second lead, and as we were watching timing and scoring, you had broke it down to just under a second in the last under 20 laps to go. Were you worried that maybe lap traffic was going to hold you up there towards the end and not allow you to close in at all?
I don't know. I really, at that point, I thought it was pretty much over because I saw him start to pull away a little bit, and then it looked like he was searching around a little bit, toying around once he got past the lap cars, and I was caught in that little pack there. What I really was hoping for was a restart when I was 3rd and Stefan was 2nd, so that way I could have restarted on the inside and then kind of been even with him, and then we could have battled it out there, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, talking about restarts too, were there any give and take? We saw a moment there between you and the driver of the number 2 where he kind of allowed you to come down that one restart. Is there any communication when you get to these short tracks with other drivers, asking, can you give me a break here? I'll give you the break the next time?
You always try to give and take when you can with the guys that, you work with on a weekly basis. We do a pretty good job of taking care of each other, but once it gets down to the end of these things, it's pretty much every man for themselves to an extent.
Yeah, and you had an every man for himself, as you do have one win on the season here with the Upstate Racing League. Next week starts the chase to the championship, and you're going to slock yourself in here tonight with coming home 2nd. You're going to go 2nd in the points, so 2nd you're going to start in the chase. What track are you looking forward to once we hit the track again in the chase? What track are you looking for?
I'm really excited for next week, actually. South Boston in the past wasn't a good track for me, but the last few times I've been there, I've had some really good runs, and I'm looking forward to the Bull Ring as well. So those are 2 tracks I kind of have circled as ones I'm really looking forward to in the chase, and we're just going to see what happens. It's going to be tough, and everyone's going to be fighting for every inch they can get now because the points are so tight again. It's basically a new season with the next 5 races.
Well, we're going to have to watch out for you at South Boston then, and then again once we hit the Bull Ring in a couple weeks after that. But we're going to give you a mic here, and is there anybody you got to thank on that Art Barbershop, Cerebral Palsy Foundation Empire Racing team? By the way, great throwback. I'm a Brett Hearn fan myself.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you could appreciate it. Yeah, I got to thank my teammates, the Empire Racing team, Chris, AJ, and Stefan. We work really well together, and we push each other, and obviously the results have shown this season. We've all been solid, and we took the top 4 spots last week, so... And a good run continuing tonight. And I got to thank you guys. You guys do a great job every week, and it's always a pleasure when I get to talk to you. And a big thanks to Al and everyone behind the scenes at Upstate Racing League that, put in all the work, and we put on a good show, I think, every week.
Yeah, it's one of the best shows out there that you can come to watch, and that's why we tune in ourselves up here in the booth. But hey, congratulations once again on your 2nd place finish, and No, we'll look for you next week at South Boston.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Well, Kelly, you heard it from the man there who finished second. He's going to lock himself into second in points for the chase coming up, and he's looking forward to next week at South Boston. But I believe you might have caught up with his teammate, the driver of the 98, who finished in the 3rd position.
Yeah, caught up now with Chris Stump, 3rd place finisher on the night. And Chris, we saw a lot of people looked like they were struggling for grip out here. And how difficult was this track in terms of handling?
It was definitely tough. My car went through some interesting transitions throughout the race, fought tight for a while, and got free for a little bit, then tight again. And then about that last 25, 30 laps, just roasted the right rear off of it. But put myself in a bad spot there, leading, and just had a brain fart driving into one. Didn't really fight free in like a lot of guys were. And slipped up the track, but luckily fell in, and things kind of cycled out the way they were.
Well, tonight we raced under the lights, and for a majority of the season we raced during the afternoon. But now going into the chase, 3 out of the 5 races are going to be under the lights. So what difference really does that make racing in terms of nighttime compared to daytime?
I don't know if it makes a whole lot of difference. It's more the track surface that we're racing on rather than day or night. I prefer the day races in these cars specifically just because they're so anemic on power. You can get a little bit more tire wear and do a little bit more, but I think it comes more so to the track that we're at rather than the time of day.
Well, going into the chase, you are our top-ranked rookie, and I believe you're going to be starting in, I think, around 5th place in terms of the chase seeding. And how are you feeling about your chances, both for the championship and for the Rookie of the Year championship?
I feel okay. Things are kind of resetting. All my teammates right now are running really strong, as you've seen, the last few weeks. So, I think I have as good a shot as anyone. I think anyone on our team, could run away with it. Obviously, Matt doing what he does week in, week out, it's going to be tough, but I think it'll definitely be interesting.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for coming and talk to us. And before we let you go, we're going to give you the floor. And who do you wish to thank for your good run you had here tonight?
I just want to thank my Empire Racing teammates, Justin, Steph, and AJ, everyone at Upstate, Coach's Corner. They put a lot of time and effort behind the scenes throughout the week. Listen to everyone's gripes and complaints, and I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys up in the booth. Do an amazing job. Really enjoy watching these broadcasts.
All right, Chris, thanks for coming and talking to us, and hopefully we'll see you in a week's time.
Sounds great. Thanks.
That was our 3rd place finisher, Chris Stump, and now we're going to give you a quick rundown of the field and see where your favorite driver may have wound up. Matt Cucker wins for, I'm almost going to lose track of how many times he has won in this league, but he has won once again, and Justin McDuff coming up in 2nd. Chris Stump finishes in 3rd. Steph Marinac comes home in 4th. Guillaume Fortin will round out our top 5, with Brian Rogers Jr. coming home in 6th. AJ Hamill finishes in 7th. Andy Lambert comes home in 8th. 9th goes to Al Smith Jr. Brett Bartels will get his first top 10 of the season, able to hold on to 10th place. Josh Mayu finishes in 11th. James McIntyre Jr. in 12th. Doug Wysocki in 13th. And Paul Henley, the last car on the lead lap, in 14th.
Your 15th finisher here tonight going to be the number 70 of Dylan Canova. 16th place is going to go to the 34 of Jeremy Watkins. The number 90 of Matt Roll is going to finish in the 17th spot. Sean Cool, after a couple nice spins out here tonight, going to come home in your 18th finishing position. Mike Holtzclaw going to bring that 22 machine home 19th. The number 89 of Thomas Mateer going to come home 20th. Danny Dubuque in the 61 comes home in your 21st position. The number 1 of Jeremy Carpenter comes home 22nd. The number 5 of Rex Hoyle finishes 23rd tonight. Looks like Brian Hacker driving the number 17 going to come home 24th. And Will Jervicki in the number 30 going to round out our field here for tonight.
So definitely a very interesting race at a track that kind of had some interesting characteristics here, and it was hard for these guys to really get track position because there's only one line around this racetrack, and the straightaways were so short that you couldn't really set anything up. So it was really just, I think, more of a challenge for these guys to see how consistent they could be. And Matt kind of wound up being that guy, as he did lose ground a few times, didn't lead flag to flag as we've seen before, but he was able to hold off and just kind of found his steady line here. And Roger, some final thoughts from you?
Yeah, steady it sure was for the driver of the 69. As we saw it, just like you had said earlier in the broadcast, it was just a train pretty much, and trying to be nice and smooth was what paid off for Matt Cucker tonight. Hey, all in all, good racing around a very small track. You saw guys into the outside wall, but you expect it at a short track like this, and that's pretty much it. Looking forward next week to once the chase starts at South Boston. That's going to be a great one, another short track, but it's a track these guys might be able to make a couple passes going down a straightaway.
And KR, going to give it over to you for a quick little bit. Is we had a lot of cautions, kept you busy, and you really got the best view of every single caution that we had.
Well, I don't know if anyone has ever said the best and myself in the same sentence, but I appreciate it there, Kelly. However, tonight was a great race. So glad to be a part of this league. Glad to be a part of it. Guys, make sure that you are following or subscribing on YouTube for this, so you know when we are bringing you all this great Upstate Racing League action. And also on Twitch, hit that follow button. Make sure you know right here, right now, all that good stuff. Guys, thank you so much. On behalf of myself, Roger, Kelly, MaxSpeedTV, y'all have a good night, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
The Upstate Racing League hopes you enjoyed this broadcast on MaxSpeedTV, and we thank you for your continued support.